Monday, March 9th. This is kind of a SPY morning update video here, and you can see after gapping down, a little exhaustion risk. We did move lower to start the session. I'll describe how I bought some puts here and had some nice gains, and now we've had sort of a red to green move to take out the high of the day and move up into this gap. We're still way below the midpoint of the prior day, so it's hard to say how this day is going to close, but it's not surprising to see this type of move, especially early in the week on a Monday, and that's kind of what I wanted to point out, and then kind of show some of the context in play here. So on the daily chart, obviously I described how we're breaking below some lows here. If we don't reverse at this area and eventually head higher, we could be heading down a lot lower. If we really want to zoom out on the quarterly chart, this is March here where it ends a couple of weeks from now. If this wants to have a two-up failure on the first 3 months of the year and close red, you'd expect the next few months to probe lower and maybe take out these lows down here. It doesn't mean it's going to happen immediately, and certainly we still have 2 weeks to go before this bar closes, but that's what's sort of unfolding here, at least from the standpoint of the next 3 months, that we're having a two-up red failure, which you would think probes a little lower, but there's plenty of time to do that. So if we go to the monthly chart now, in terms of what's developing, this is just a 2-down month that hit its target here, and again with 2 weeks to go, if this wants to close red, you'd kind of expect it to hold the midpoint of whatever this bar is and probe a little lower going into April towards some of these areas. So there's still a downward bias in play the closer we get to the end of the March, but at the moment, with a little exhaustion risk, down, it's possible you pause a little bit along the way, and some of the best setups are going to be failures to the upside that roll over to the downside. And that's why I wanted to point out, starting out early in the week, you don't really know how that's all going to unfold. It could also be a very strong reversal week, but in order for that to happen, we're going to need all week long for this to stay above this opening price, turn green on some strong green bar that you'd expect to follow through higher. And even if that happens, you could see here there's some selling, into the midpoint of that. But I mean, it would be, even if we get some kind of green week, which I'm not expecting, then, it would be hard to follow through and start getting to some of these upper targets, given that bigger picture that seems to point lower. But in the short run, not surprising, at exhaustion risk, it heads up a little bit, and some of the best trades are going to be the rollovers to the downside, two up, that don't reach targets, and then have 2 down days that conforms with opening price action. So like I said, on the daily chart, not surprising at the moment, we're kind of exhaustion risk moving higher, but I don't see this as strong buying opportunity, more so that just don't be surprised that it didn't follow through lower immediately, wanted to come up first. Today, intraday structure-wise, it's going to have to come down with a pretty big red bar, pause a little bit, and then look like it wants to test these lows again before re-entering. So it's possible we head up all day long. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I know what a re-entry to the downside will have to look like, and I'm not ready to do that yet either. But for me, I just wanted to point out, I bought those SPY 675 puts aggressively at 1272. I scaled out at 1375 to set up a Norris trade. I was trying to scale out at 15. I just missed it. So I sold some at 1475, and then I sold the rest at 1484. Obviously, the options are way down. So I wanted to take my early gains, just knowing all of that is in play. Yes, it could have, continued a lot lower, but given that it was pausing here somewhere, taking out those, pre-market lows in this area, I just decided to exit and continue to watch. And knowing if it went lower, then I can get an orderly pullback and probably re-enter. Because when you're at exhaustion risk, it's hard to maintain that momentum sometimes. And we are in an environment where maybe, with some international situations, that surprises could happen either way, maybe even to the upside. So I'm aware of that. But at least in the charting standpoint, it looks like lower is the way to go. But on the way down, you're going to have various, moves back up to take out liquidity. And some of the best trades, if you don't get the immediate gap, are going to be some of the rollover trades to the downside. So that could be unfolding here. We'll keep an eye on that for the rest of the week. But just thought I'd shoot kind of a morning video here, just describing some of that context, what happened this morning, what I'm continuing to look for, and everything else. So we'll see how this day ends up. Today, a failure on the structure would have to come down strongly red here. If not, then we'll see how it closes for the rest of the day. But to me, I'm still more excited, to see anything that might fail to the upside to get back into the sell side. But we'll see, day to day, what unfolds for the rest of the week.